Hi everyone and welcome back again. I'm Petra. I'd just like to take a moment to say a huge thank you because I just checked this morning on the YouTube channel and we are above 1,000 subscribers. Now that to me is totally wow, because when I started on this journey of telling my story, of healing myself and sharing with you, I thought, well, it'd be nice to, get 20 or 30 people who maybe we can help each other by listening to each other's stories. And not in my wildest dreams did I imagine that we would hit above 1,000 subscribers. So I'd just like to say a huge thank you for that. And thank you also for sharing your stories, for giving advice to the whole community on my channel, where we share each other's stories and we lift each other up and we give advice and we answer each other's comments. And it's just wonderful that this has turned out this way, especially, when you have exceeded every single expectation that I had. So thank you once again. Today I would like to speak on why do we attract narcissists? Now, I came to this topic from, going over and reevaluating my experiences with the narcissistic boyfriend, with two narcissistic friends. And I just kept asking myself, why did you attract these people into your life? Well, I think for me, the number one answer to that was that, as I've mentioned previously, is that the narcissist comes into your life wearing this ugly mask and this state of devaluing you and criticizing you and being very judgmental of you and taking down your emotional state. They do this somewhat at an unconscious level, but it is to make us conscious about where we need to heal certain wounds in our own system, in our soul, in our heart, our own wounds from maybe childhood traumas or from being raised by narcissistic parents. That might also be your story. That for me is the number one thing, is that they come into our lives to teach us very valuable lessons. And this, of course, I say from a spiritual point of view, because I believe that everyone who comes into your life has a lesson for you and you have a lesson for them. So it is a two-way street. It is an exchange of energy and information and life experiences. So that for me, once again, would be number one. But of course, that is on a spiritual level. Now, if you want to take it from a mental level, I've written down 7 points why I think that we attract narcissists into our lives. So I'd just like to go over these with you. And number one is that more times than not, you are a people pleaser, and you measure your self-worth by how you can please others. Now, this also comes from childhood often. That is my story, is that I was raised, I've also said this before, I was raised by two very loving parents who always taught me to be nice and to be kind. So once again, from their subconscious level, they were actually teaching me how not to set boundaries, to be a people pleaser. So that is something that I'm now onto, and I am, also still in the process of becoming less a people pleaser. So I do love people, but I please less. I please others less and please myself more, in a healthy way. So the narcissist comes to someone who is people pleaser and who has very weak boundaries, because someone who is very self-confident, who is very self-assured, they will not approach, because there is no supply there for them to take from. So that is number one. If you are a people pleaser, which is a wonderful trait, but don't let it be at the expense of your own peace of mind. So if you have a problem setting boundaries, and if you find that you are pleasing too often, then of course I offer coaching, one-on-one coaching. You can reach me on Skype, because it is a whole process that you go through. That is not something that I can just tell you about in a short video. So if you would like the coaching, then please feel free to get in touch with me. So that is the people pleasing. That was the number one. Number two is that you will feel the need for approval. And this is what the narcissist gives you in the beginning stages of the relationship, is that they will shower you with positive affirmations, with positive energy. It's really a false energy, but this is what they will shower you with, because they are mirroring you. They will tell you that you are their soulmate. They will compliment you on your looks, on your accomplishments, on how you show up, on how you say or do certain things. So they will condition you to let down your guard, so that it is easier for them to get in. And once you are in the middle of this addiction, then that is when they go into a full-blown criticism of you. So they will then go about criticizing all the things that they said they loved about you in the beginning. So when it gets to that phase, when you find that there's no more approval coming from the narcissist, so lack of approval, this will make you try even harder to gain or to regain their approval. So when there is a conflict, when there is an argument, you will do your utmost to soothe out the conflict, to repair things, to get back to that stage of approval from them. But this just never happens, because that is only the first stage, when the approval stage that is done in the beginning. But when it is taken away from you, there is no way you will get it back from the narcissist. But again, you will continue to try harder and harder and harder to regain the approval. Point number 3 is that we are usually the caregivers, the fixers, the helpers. We do this in our everyday life. We love giving care. We love giving compassion and love to others. This again is how the narcissist smells you out. And they will, at some point in the relationship, say how difficult their lives are, that they're going through hardships, that no one loves them, that no one has any time for them. And what do, the caregivers? We want to give them that sense of security. We want to care for them. We want to help them get through their problems. We want to help them heal whatever mental or inner wounds they may be having. So once again, we will try our best to help them to heal. But as all of you know, a narcissist cannot heal. This is their personality. There's nothing that you can do to help them overcome this disorder. So this is something they have to do. This is not something you have to do. So that is the caregiver part of it. They will always seek you out because you are such a caring and loving person. Moving on to the 4th point. Sorry, did you hear that? There is a monster in my sink. Sorry for that. Moving on to the 4th point. You don't like to hurt the narcissist's feelings by saying no. Now, saying no is, of course, a way of setting your boundary. So by saying no, you are hurting, or you feel that you are hurting the narcissist's feelings. So therefore, you will undervalue your own opinions, and you will downplay your own needs and your own wishes. Now, by doing this, maybe you can relate to this. By not saying no, you will feel yourself getting smaller and smaller and smaller every time. And the narcissist's ego just grows and grows and grows every time you say yes. So learning to say no, because it can be learned. I often get emails asking, how do I set my boundaries? How do I learn to say no? Because there is a lot of fear and anxiety that all sort of plays into this as well. Because that is the reason why we don't say no, is because we are fearful of the narcissist's reaction. So the only way to really do this is by, just closing your eyes, clenching your teeth, and just going for it and just doing it. Now, I remember the first time that I said no to the narcissistic friend. I knew it was coming. I knew that I wanted to say no, and I kept postponing it. I kept putting it off. And at some point, I couldn't put it off any longer. And I had her on the phone, and I realized that my voice was trembling. I realized that the phone in my hand, can you see that? The phone was shaking all over the place. And I was, you see, I was hyperventilating because I knew what was coming. I knew the wrath of the narcissist was coming. So I sort of, played around, circled around the bush. I didn't really want to come out and say a flat no, but it got to the point where the conversation was almost ending. And she asked me, she brought up the situation, or the appointment that we had that I was wanting to say no to. And she brought it up again and she said, I'll see you in an hour or 2 hours, whatever the case was. And I said, no, I cannot make it. I cannot show up. I don't want to do this. And, I remember that my head felt as if it was going to explode because it was all the stress and anxiety that I was building up in my own body for having to say the no. But once I had done it, the trembling still continued. But once I had done it, once I had said no, I felt this weight just completely fall off my shoulders. And what I'm trying to say by telling you that is that you will have to go through the anxiety and fear by setting that first boundary. It's going to feel very uncomfortable for you. It's going to feel awful. You're going to feel guilt once you have expressed the word no to the narcissist. But as time proceeds and as you start practicing setting your boundaries and practicing saying no, you will find that you will be more calm when saying it. It will get easier for you. So there's a great book, I think by Suzanne or Susan Jefferson, and the book's title is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And that is the same thing when you are setting boundaries or saying no. Just feel that fear. Let it be there, let it be present, but do it anyway. That is the only way you're going to get through this. And, saying no to the narcissist is saying yes to yourself. The fifth point is that you have a lack of self-love and self-respect. And the narcissist can smell this. This is how they sniff you out. There is no self-love. There is no self-respect. And when you get to the point where you start cultivating more self-love for yourself and more self-respect, so one of these is saying no, setting a boundary. That is just offering yourself more love and respect. When you start to cultivate this, the narcissist will notice this and will let you know that they do not understand where you are coming from. Now, this was said to me by the narcissistic friend. I don't understand you anymore. How dare you say no to me? How dare you set boundaries? And another thing she said was, I don't like the way you are setting boundaries in such a rapid fashion. Because once I started setting the boundaries, I started enjoying it, so I started setting more of them. And this got her very frustrated and very angry. So I got the whole narcissistic anger poured out onto me. the narcissist realizes that when you start implementing self-love and self-respect, that they are losing their grip on you. And they, of course, do not like this because they realize that their supply is slipping. So they will say something along the lines of, "You have changed." So there is a great quote somewhere where when someone says you have changed, it simply means that you are no longer living your life on their terms. And this is what also happens with the narcissist, because you are onto them and you want to start living life on your own terms. And this is where the change comes about, the change in yourself, the change that the narcissist will also notice, and they will not like it. But do not be deterred from loving yourself even more and respecting yourself even more, because this is going to set you on your road to absolute and euphoric freedom. I'm just going to flip my sheet here. The sixth point that I had is that the reason why you attract the narcissist in your life is probably because you are accustomed to being abused. Now, what I mean by this is that you may be someone who has been raised by one or both narcissistic parents. So because you have been conditioned into this way of existing, you will just automatically attract the narcissist into your life because you do not know any other way. So I realize that for very many of you, this could be your number one on the list of why do you attract a narcissist. And this is a very trying thing to go to, because you will feel that your life has no value. You were brought up this way. You have only known narcissistic abuse your whole life, and this carries on into your relationships, into your friendships. It may even carry on into the way you mother or father your own children. So this, again, to get over or to come to terms and to heal from this abuse, it is imperative that you go into counseling or therapy, because this, especially if you have experienced this abuse your whole life for decades, it is not something that you can just quickly heal or fix. So it is very important that you let yourself be coached, or that you go into therapy for this, because you need to be able to tell your story, and you need to be able to understand every single aspect of what happened to you as a child and why you allow this behavior to be repeated in your adult life as well. A final point that I have, the seventh point, is that maybe you feel that you cannot handle being alone, and without the narcissistic friend or the narcissistic partner, you feel lost, you feel alone, you feel that no one loves you. So because you feel this way, because you are afraid of being alone, you feel that you are not deserving of authentic and true love from someone who truly loves you, whether it is a friend or a partner. So looking back on my own life with my first narcissistic boyfriend, is that I truly did not feel that I was deserving of true love. I realized that I was being disrespected in this relationship, but I was afraid to leave because I thought, who's going to want me? Who's going to love me? Speaking from a romantic point of view. I felt ugly, I felt undesirable, I felt unattractive, and this is what this is some of the reason why I stayed in this relationship for 8 years is because I did not feel worthy of receiving true love. And thinking back on the friendships that I had with narcissistic women, once again, I was afraid of not having a friend, not having someone to listen to me, to go out and do great stuff with, to experience fun times. I felt that I could not receive that from anyone else. So this 7th point also once again boils down to a lack of self-love and self-respect. And once you have regained, or once you have constructed the self-love and self-respect for yourself, then you will find that, the world is your oyster. Because then you will attract, it's all about energy. That is what it is about. When you have low self-esteem, that is an energy form. And this is the kind of energy that you will attract in the narcissist. But when you have the loving energy form and the wholesome energy form, when you are healed from all your emotional wounds, then, then it is just, that is the natural, this is the natural thing that will happen, is that you will automatically attract love into your life, true love, authentic love, love that is given from a place of integrity and from a soul level, from a true soul level. So it all boils down to self-love. It all boils down to how much you value yourself. Because when you place value on your heart, your body, your mind, your spirit, these are the kinds of people you will attract. And I can say that in true honesty, because this is the kind of people, these are the kind of people that I have in my life now. I have a loving relationship that has actually spanned over almost 2 decades. I have a loving daughter, a loving mother. I have loving friends around me. And, I know it might sound a bit woo-woo, a bit out there, but I would just like you to just sit and think through this, because where do you need to offer yourself more self-love and more respect and more courage? Courage is also a form of love. I think Maya Angelou once said that no other virtue can be practiced in life without the virtue of courage. So just let that sink into your heart and take the steps necessary to loving on yourself more, because it is going to get you to a wonderful place and will give you wonderful experience in your life to come. Thank you so much for tuning in again today, and I'd love to speak to you very soon, probably sometime this week. Stay happy and stay focused and stay well, and see you all next time. Bye now.